We've got to address climate change. We've got to preserve this beauty and the health of our planet for our kids, our grandkids, and for future generations. We truly are facing an existential crisis right now. On Saturday, my wife and I drove to Yakima. That's where she grew up. We went there to celebrate my mother-in-law's 89th birthday, okay? And we get over White Pass, and we're coming down to Rimrock. And Julianne, you know this better than anyone. I looked at Rimrock, and I've been in this state for 30 years, and I have never seen it so low, right? I asked my wife, I said, you grew up here. Have you ever seen it as low as this? She says, never. The next day in the Sunday edition, front page of the Yakima Herald, it said, Washington State reservoirs are at 19% capacity. Normally, this time of year, they're at 32% capacity. They're predicting a winter, this coming winter, like this past one, where very little snowfall, very little snowpack. If that happens, we are seriously in trouble, a major, major drought. In Yakima, that translates to people who have junior water rights getting about 25% at best of the water that they would otherwise have. This is going to create major tragedies, major loss of income, major loss of jobs each year until we address this stuff. But that's not all. We know that forest fires have raged all throughout the summer. In mid-June, we ran out of our budget for fighting fires, $50 million spent by mid-June, and the fires raged through September, right? In Puget Sound, Taylor Shellfish Company has moved its production to Hawaii because the water is too acidic and there's too much bacteria in Puget Sound and Willapa Bay to raise shellfish, right? Our glaciers are melting at unprecedented rates, causing flooding and quicker runoff, right? And we don't have the storage capacity for it, right? And finally, there's been an explosion of lung disease in our state, 2 to 3 times the average for young people, for people of color, and the elderly in our state. Folks that live by highways, that live by industrial sites. Sisters and brothers, this is just wrong. This is just flat out wrong. So, last year before the People's Climate March in New York City, the UN General Secretary, Ban Ki-moon, he said this. I just love this quote. He said, look, in talking about climate change, he says, we have to address this now. He said, because there is no plan B, because there is no planet B. We got one shot at this. Let's make it count. So look, there are divisions in the labor movement over climate, and most of it comes about, I would contend, because we don't have a policy in this country around a just transition. So it becomes an issue of jobs or no jobs, jobs or environmental protection. And I want to tell you, we can change that formula because right now we can't afford to allow the oil companies to pump every barrel of oil and proven reserves out of the ground, because if we do, we're doomed. We can't afford to allow them to pump every ounce of natural gas out of the ground. We've got to keep that stuff there. We've got to begin a phase out of fossil fuels, and we've got to reduce our carbon emissions, and it's going to take 10, 20, 30, 40 years to do that. But in that transition process, right, we got to make sure that we're balancing jobs with investing in a new energy economy.